What's up guys, and welcome to episode 2 of this channel. And on this episode I wanted to describe and discuss a topic that's near and dear to my heart, which is the importance of dressing classically masculine for a boost in your self-confidence. That's number one. And number two, for general improvements in all areas of your life. So I'll give you guys a background. There was a point in my life where the idea of dressing up just sounded so alien and so foreign to me. My idea was that if I just focus on my core skills, right, the value that I bring to the market, the value that I bring to my friends, my family, so on and so forth, that it should not matter how I dress, what I wear, right? All of that seemed so foreign and so vain to me. It seemed as if it was a cop-out, right? If I was to focus on that category, that aspect of my life, that I would essentially be neglecting the things that matter. But I could not have been further from the truth, and I'll tell you why. The way that you dress is a reflection of how you see yourself, right? If you give yourself the time, the attention, the care, right? This is a direct reflection of how much you value yourself in a world that essentially can be against you if you allow it to, right? If you allow yourself to be victimized by the circumstances that you find yourself in, it can be so easy to find yourself in a downward spiral. So dressing is a form of self-acceptance, right? It's a form of telling yourself that I truly believe that I am worth the value, right? I'm worth projecting and presenting myself in a way that is of higher quality, of higher caliber. And immediately that seeps into all areas of life. So on to this episode, I want to give you guys my 5 sort of mental points. And it's going to be a different approach to anything you might have heard in the past. I'm not talking about dressing in a way that's trendy, right? There are some thought camps that might tell you dress in a way that's trendy, or they might tell you dress in a minimalistic way and just get good fitting clothing. Or there's others that might tell you in order to dress fashionably, you need to wear whatever is hype at the time. My approach is a little bit more classical. My idea is actually to dress classically masculine is one of, if not the best way to approach your fashion style. Why? Well, watch this episode and you're about to find out. Getting into the first point is that image is everything. The way that you dress yourself is a direct reflection of what you're willing and what you're looking to say about yourself. And I learned this in the early days specifically from my father, right? When I was a kid, just as kids are, you basically dress in anything that comes your way. You put no thought, no effort into color matching. You put no thought, no effort into what you're wearing. Put a pair of sneakers with a classical pair of trousers. And from the early days, I always had my father who would actually evaluate what I would dress in. And he would he'd tell me, no, this is not the right way to dress. You should dress like this. This is why you should dress like this. This is how you portray yourself to the world. And at the time, I remember just feeling so like, just get off my back. Why do you even care? Right? There's just this angst, right? There's this push and pull. And I realized from the early days, what this man was doing was instilling a self-confidence in me that I am now benefiting from tenfold. I no longer see myself as a victim to my circumstances. I see myself as the driver in my life. And one of the primary ways that I drive my life is the way that I present myself. And I do this through fashion, through the way that I wish first to see myself, right? It's not necessarily about the way others see you. That stuff projects, but it's about how do I view myself, right? Do I view myself as someone who is responsible? Do I view myself as someone who is worth spending the money on, spending the time to get ready, to get dressed, to present myself in a way that is worthy of the way that I want to approach my life? And that's the number one hack here, right? It's not necessarily about doing it for others. That's going to come as a byproduct. So the easiest way to present the right version of yourself is to actually go ahead and present the right version of yourself. There's no point in saying that, but I'm a nice guy and I'm a good guy and I'm very hardworking and all of these positive things about yourself, but the way that you're projecting yourself is completely the opposite, or it just says nothing, right? You're just showing up in an old t-shirt, showing up in some joggers, and the idea here is that, yeah, I don't care about that stuff, right? What I'm trying to focus on is the core values. Sure, it's important to have something to back up the way that you're presenting yourself. There is no way, shape, or form that I'm advocating to lie to people, right? To project a version of yourself that is false. But there's a caveat here, because you can actually trick yourself into becoming the person that you wish to become. So you may not be the person that you truly know that you are or could be, but when you start to act a certain way, when you start to dress a certain way, you start to speak a certain way, all of that starts to manifest. It becomes a part of you. It becomes who you truly are. So number one is image is going to be everything. The way you dress says a lot about yourself. And The first thing it says about yourself is that I take care of myself. I care about myself. I put myself on a higher platform. I'm not better than others. What I am is I'm the best representation of myself, and I demand to have the respect in life that I know I've earned. And number two is that dressing in a classically masculine fashion, right? When I say classically masculine fashion, I mean button-ups, I mean trousers, I mean jackets, blazers, double-breasted suits, things that are considered to be classically masculine. Why? Well, number two is that it is mentally therapeutic. Look at most days, right? You can barely get a moment to yourself between the demands of business, between the demands of your job, between the demands of your social sphere, between the demands of all of the things that are taking your attention away from you. When's the last time you truly had a moment to yourself to self-reflect, to just seep into who you are, into your essence, into your being? Well, when you dress in a classically masculine fashion, there's a certain time requirement that it takes to get dressed, to get ready. And I'm not saying it should take hours, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, we have a lot of buttons to do. We have a lot of buckles to do. So the favorite part of my day, and I mean this with a passion, is when I wake up in the morning, right? I hit the gym and I come back and I'll take a shower and I'll come out of the shower and I'll have everything laid out, right? The things that I want. I have my suit, I have my button up, I have my socks, I have all of these things that are going to be the uniform that I present to the world today. And I spend 10 to 15 minutes just getting dressed. No distractions, nothing out there. I don't look on my phone, I don't speak to anyone. Maybe I pet my cat, but more than that, I don't do anything. So what I do is I'm just getting ready. I have a mirror in front of me and I am taking care of myself. I am having an interaction with myself that is authentic and pure and true natured. And this is mental therapy. Believe me when I say that moment of self-reflection, it's sort of how for men, when we drive, right? We forget about the world. We forget about all of the things that are trying to weigh us down or all of the anxieties that can actually creep up on us. The same is true about getting dressed, especially when you do it in a masculine fashion and you see yourself coming together, right? You see your pants coming on, you see your shirt, you see your jacket, all of who you are starts to compose itself and you see yourself come to life in real time. And I promise you, if you've never experienced this, it's one of the most satisfying feelings in the world, right? When you look yourself in the mirror and you see someone that is a respectful representation of who you'd like to be. So this is number two, is that it's mental therapy. Number three is that you gain the benefit of projecting the values of old onto who you are today. So if we look at a lot of classical masculine figures, right, especially in modern day media, right, think of Thomas Shelby, right, think of all of these figures that we sort of romanticize in this day and age. They give us a peek into the past, into masculine values of the past in terms of how men used to be, and we romanticize that and we look back at that as a representation of how we would like to be today. Well, just by dressing in that fashion, what you're able to do is you're able to take those old values and you're able to project them onto yourself, right? If you think of a lot of these old classical masculine values, they tend to be responsibility. They tend to be the ability to go through hardship. They tend to be the ability to be stoic, to remain calm under pressure, to take decisions, to be level-headed, all of these positive aspects of life. So when you dress in a certain way, what you're doing is you're borrowing those values. And when you borrow those values enough, you begin to adopt them. When you adopt those values, you internalize them, and then they become who you are. Think of the power of being able to put on a uniform, right? That is a representation of a specific set of values. And that over time, you're able to seep into those values and to actually absorb them in real time. This is the power of dressing classically masculine. It goes beyond just the way that you present yourself. It's the story behind it. It's the history, the legacy, right? Those who have come before you have set the path and paved the way for who you can ultimately become. Number four, when it comes to dressing in a classically masculine fashion, it does wonders for building your self-love, right? The way that you appreciate who you are and your self-confidence. Why? Well, think of the world. Think of those around you. There's few people that are going to love you unconditionally, right? It may be your mom, and most likely only your mom, right? This is the only person that, despite how you perform in life, will always be there to support you. Besides that, all you have is yourself. So I find it flabbergasting when people reflect upon themselves a negativity. Well, the whole world is trying to tear you down. Why would you add to that? Why would you add to your burdens? Why would you not love yourself? Why would you not appreciate yourself? Why would you not create a version of yourself that you can be proud of? And this is what dressing in a classically masculine fashion does to you. So, number one, you need to get fitted. A lot of these clothing are made out of low stretch fabrics that require a certain level of fitting. There's no better experience than going to a tailor, getting fitted for your clothing, getting something that's custom made. Even if you can just barely afford it, what that does to you is it creates a sense of value in yourself. That if you're willing to spend that money on yourself, if you're willing to go out of your way to get something that's only made for you and only you, right? There's a certain standard that you begin to set for yourself, and you start to look at yourself in a different way. And as you get fitted and as you get changed in real time by the clothing that you wear, what happens is you start to look at yourself in a slightly different way, and you start to appreciate yourself in a slightly different way. And what you start to do is you start to adopt the thinking that maybe I can make something of myself after all. Maybe I'm a little bit more calibrated than I might have given myself credit for. Maybe I can achieve those things that someone told me I can't, right? All these things that create self-doubts, they begin to disintegrate. And this comes with just accepting yourself for who you are, and your clothing does that. The act of how you buy your clothing, the money you spend on your clothing, the experience of actually tailoring your clothing, all of that creates a self-appreciation that puts yourself in a different state of mind. And that state of mind starts to change the way that you interact within your life, the way you speak, the way you command respect, the way you look at people, the way you walk into a room. It sounds so foreign and so different and so absurd, but it's not. Most people lack the awareness that a simple mindset shift and what that mindset shift can do for them in all areas and all aspects of their life. To speak authentically comes from within, right? But that person that you are within needs to be cultivated first. We all know the feeling that your voice doesn't matter, right? I'm coming into this channel and this is my second episode and it could get 50 views, but I'm still going to speak what I believe in a way that's authentic. And I'm going to say it in a way that is a true representation of myself, because I 110% believe that what I have to say matters. And all of this is a result of the way that I actually have structured my life and the way that I dress my life. Believe it or not, it is the truth. And I am a reflection of that. Number 5, and this is actually one of the funniest points in the list, is that, believe it or not, dressing in a classically masculine way is the most versatile and simplest ways of dressing. Why? What I'm dressed in allows me to come into the office. I can take a meeting in this. I can go meet with friends after work. I can go see someone. I'm able to just live my life in all areas of it. And I'm always able to do that in a way where I don't feel underdressed. I never feel that I'm showing up in a specific scenario where, well, I'm not prepared or I'm not presentable. I always feel like the most presentable version of myself. And even if I'm overdressed, I've never found myself in a situation where that is a negative, right? Or that's something that is working against me. It's always been a positive. So you just get so much versatility out of a navy blue pair of trousers, a white poplin shirt, and a double-breasted or a single-breasted suit, right? It's just something that is so tangible. It's something that is so versatile. It's something that is always allowing you to achieve the peak of your self-representation in all areas and all times of your life. It's such a versatile way of dressing and puts you ahead of 99.9% of people 99.9% of the time. Well, gentlemen, this has been my top 5 key points for why I personally look at dressing masculine as a way to improve my self-confidence and as a way to improve my performance in all areas of life. Let me know if this is something that you have considered in the past, right? If not, what is a specific style of fashion that is applicable to you, right? Like, what do you like to dress in? Why do you like to dress that way? I'm curious because it's always important to be able to get and gather different points of view. Believe me when I say, try it and you won't regret it. I've tried every single type of fashion, and I can always come back to this as not the safe bet, but the right bet. The bet that puts me in the best possible position to win at life and to succeed at the scale that I know I deserve to succeed at. So guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up and consider subscribing, right? When I put my mind to something, I'm going to keep doing it time and time again. And I cannot wait to see what becomes of the channel. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Until next time, we'll speak.